People with disabled siblings, what's the most memorable thing they've ever done? My little sister was placed in the ICU when I was 9. She had muscular dystrophy, and her lungs were failing. One day, she felt a shortness of breath, and 126 days later, just a week before her birthday, she was hooked up to strange tubes and was fighting for her life. Thankfully, she survived and came home 5 months later, but life was never the same. She now lived hooked up on machines, couldn't do anything herself, and our days of playing video games and going outside were officially in the past. It's also right around this time that my parents started neglecting me to treat her. I didn't blame them. She needed more attention. But as time progressed, it got ridiculous. My parents didn't even attend my elementary graduation, so they could stay home and read to her. As a child, I was quiet about how mistreated I felt, but as I entered puberty, I became more rebellious. I started getting vocal to my parents about how my sister didn't need all that attention, about how for once in my life, I wanted my own birthday celebration, a ticket to a concert, anything. I remember them scoffing and going to tell me no, until my sister spoke up. She told my parents they should say yes. She said I deserved a life too, and that I was their child too. I looked at her with so much admiration at that moment. My parents listened to her, and on my 14th birthday, they threw me my first ever party. Following this, I started being allowed to hang out with friends, and even got a small allowance. I thought my parents finally started caring for me too, until 8th grade when I got accepted onto my school's soccer team. It cost $500 for the year, which was a lot of money, but I had $200 of my own saved up, and had promised to do chores for the whole year in exchange for the other $300. My parents agreed. They promised they would send the money, but the day it was due, my coach asked why my parents hadn't paid yet. I stammered, telling him there must have been a mistake. I went home, intending to ask my parents about it, but when I walked in, I saw them unpacking a machine they ordered for Lila's lungs. It dawned on me they had used my $200 plus whatever else to buy this. I lost it at that moment. I yelled at them that they never cared about what mattered to me. They yelled back, saying I was being selfish, and I needed to understand how serious Lila's condition was. I stormed up to my room and slammed the door so hard a picture fell off the wall. Things got a lot worse after that. I didn't follow through on my chore promise. I refused to help set up Lila's breathing equipment. And at school, my attitude got bad. I started getting suspended a lot, usually for anger issues. My parents started grounding me and taking my phone, but every punishment ended as soon as Lila had another emergency. After a while, they just stopped punishing me altogether. Then in 9th grade, something amazing happened. My art teacher chose one of my paintings for a big regional contest. If I won, it could mean scholarships and recognition. I told my parents hoping they would finally celebrate me. And they did. They hugged me and said they were proud. But then they told me the ceremony was the same day as a critical procedure for Lila, so we couldn't miss it. No exceptions. They wouldn't be there. And what's worse, I couldn't go either. I remember begging them to let me go alone. They refused. My dad said, "We can't risk Lila for your hobby." It felt like he stabbed me in the chest. I packed my bag and left. I spent that night at my best friend's house and ignored every call and message. When I came home a few days later, I saw my sister in the living room. She looked pale and exhausted, but when she saw me, she asked if we could talk, and that's when I exploded. I yelled at her that it was her fault Mom and Dad never cared for me. That stung her a lot. She went all quiet and told me with tears in her eyes that she hated herself for being the reason I don't get to live my life. She said she never asked for any of this. She hated feeling guilty for just existing. We hugged when she said that, and I apologized for my words. That night, she told our parents she refused to keep living this way. She told them to start giving me attention, or she wouldn't cooperate with her treatments. My parents didn't get it right away. At first, they thought she was being dramatic and told her to stop, but she stood her ground. She started skipping treatments. She said if they didn't let me have a life, she wasn't going to fight for hers. Our parents panicked and got angry. They tried punishing me again to make her stop, but it didn't work. 3 weeks in, things began changing. My parents set up rides for her appointments so they could take me to soccer. I got back onto the team next year. My sister came to my first game carrying her oxygen tank. 4 months later, I won a small award for an art competition, and in the crowd, my sister was smiling bigger than anyone. When I walked off stage, my parents hugged me and actually apologized for the first time. Things weren't perfect after that. We still had emergencies and tough times, but my sister and I stuck together. We now had each other's backs, and it stayed that way until she passed. Rest in peace, Kaylee. Your big brother always loves you.